Isabelle. Hey, it's Isabelle. In this video, I'm going to show you how to produce a pop song by breaking down my work on the song Some of Everything by Mint Simon. Mint Simon happens to be a super close friend of mine and also the lead singer of our band together, Cave Boy. So it was extra fun to work on this project with them. Adorable. It can be really daunting to start a production. Where do I even begin? Not with that, but really there isn't just one answer. Chords, a vocal melody, a guitar solo, anything. Since Mint Simon gave me a rough demo for this song, a lot of the heavy lifting was already done. It made sense for me to start with the drums and build from there. I kept things pretty simple with a standard 4-on-the-floor type pattern. I knew they wanted it to be danceable too, and you can't go wrong with a simple, driving beat like this one. Got it. Here's the kick. As you can tell, it's just a standard pop kick paired with a snare and a clap. And it continues pretty much throughout the whole song. I just added this funky drum fill on a few transitions. Check it out. It's fun. Next is my favorite part of building a beat, percussion. Yeah? I found a couple fun loops that helped elevate the pre-chorus that comes after the verse. First, there's this bongo loop. Then you've also got this shaker loop. I've placed them each off-center to add a bit more width to the overall sound. I used the popular technique of keeping the verses pretty centered and intimate and then much wider in the chorus. This can help create a sort of sonic journey from one part of the song to the next by adding exciting dynamics. It really shakes things up. Next, let's talk about the bass. It's one of the most prominent instruments in the song, but that's what you get when you ask a bassist to produce your song, okay? I actually jammed out this bass line on the MIDI keyboard. So when it was time to record on the guitar, I realized I'd have to tune down to drop D, meaning this song is now officially a metal song. Here's that bass without any effects. Not bad, but it's not meshing the way that I'd like. So first I scooped out a bit of the sub-frequencies and did a little boost around 5-6K. Next I had some fun with some widening and some saturation. I also added a subtle synth bass to double that bass line, just to add a little extra snap and crunch. That's like some off-brand Rice Krispies, dude. Snap and crunch, part of a balanced breakfast. Starting out with all these foundational elements can really help you stay in the flow. It's so easy to get bogged down and discouraged with all the technical stuff, like chord information and harmony, especially when you're not a music theory whiz, which I am definitely not. But please, don't tell the International Federation of Bassists. Now, let's jump in to synths. I found a MIDI loop of this sort of Latin-style piano. I changed it up a bunch to fit the song's key and tempo, and that's when it dawned on me. I like this. Here's how the loop originally sounded. I just played around with the EQ to brighten it up. Added some tape saturation effects. And then spread it out a bit to widen it more and added some reverb. I also automated the volume and the low-pass filter of the piano so that it has a bit less energy in the verses and really opens up and brightens up in the chorus. Check it out. Since Mint Simon is a huge fan of retro disco, I knew they'd want strings, and lots of them. How many strings? All of the strings. Never enough strings. Will that work? So I started with these synth strings to add some vintage shine. The melody isn't too wild, they're just adding some constant high end to help brighten up the sonic energy of the chorus. I also use some string samples as transitions in some sections, which really helps bring that classic disco feel. I also threw in these fun synth stabs in the second verse to help elevate it in comparison to verse 1. There comes a time in every producer's career where you're handed a very special opportunity, and what you decide to do in that moment will determine the rest of your life. So I ask you, will you add a sax solo, or will you not add a sax solo? Just kidding. But the breakdown section of this song just so happened to lend itself perfectly to the distinctive sound of saxophone. It's sax time! Listen to that all day. This part was actually all done remotely. I sent the track to my extremely talented friend, Shelby Cohen, aka Sax Genius, and told her, go nuts. She sent me back this ripping sax solo, and I instantly loved it. It's important to recognize your strengths and weaknesses. I can't play saxophone. That's the beauty of collaboration. If you ever find yourself in need of an extra hand during your creative process, check out the Lander Network. There are tons of amazingly talented musicians, producers, mixers, and more. Like me. We'll be talking about vocals in a sec, but first I want to mention these choir layers. They're actually Logic's built-in choir instrument. I layered a bunch of them together using different chord voicings and harmonies. The original plan was actually to get a real choir together, but we couldn't really make that happen during quarantine, which is when this song was made. And that's part of producing. You have to get creative with whatever you've got. And honestly, the ambiguous sound of these synthetic voices ended up fitting better with the sound of the song. Now, let's look at some transition effects. These can be super helpful to thread sections together. I like to keep them pretty subtle. You feel them more than you hear them.
They're so funny to listen to.
I know, without music. Yeah, they're pretty tucked away, but they still manage to help bring that rise and drop effect to these moments. This is usually the last step of the production process for me, so it's the icing on the cake. Anthony has asked me to no longer make food metaphors, so let's jump into vocals. Like with most pop songs, the lead vocal is front and center, and like the sax, this was all done remotely. I used pretty much the same processing that you may have seen in a previous video here. So some pitch correction, subtractive EQ, compression, de-essing, maybe some additive EQ, saturation, and all with some subtle reverb and delay to help add depth. Here's the dry vocal. And here it is with the vocal processing. I had some fun automating the formant of the lead vocal just before chorus 2 hits. Check this out. I could show what that's doing, really. I wanted it to feel circus. Yeah, that's an adjective now.
Circusy.
Sometimes I lean into the lyric. Like if they say the lyric bad or dangerous or something negative like that, I'll like add like a weird demonic voice on it or something. When they say something like parade or circus, I'll go. It can get like cheesy and dorky very quickly though, so it depends. I try a lot of stupid shit and then cancel most of it. Yeah, that's also another tip. Production. We recorded 2 doubles of the lead vocal in certain sections that are panned all the way left and all the way right to let that lead vocal really shine in the center. Baby, let's start a new religion. We can work with what we're given. Adding doubles and even quadruples can be a great way to add extra width and dimension to a vocal, especially when they come after a section where there was just a single vocal. You can feel the difference. We then tracked some harmony layers for the chorus and panned those as well. Last but not least, we've got some vocal ad-libs running throughout the song. These improvised moments really help the song build an energy from start to finish and add some extra pieces of flair during vocal parts that repeat. Pieces of flair. How many pieces of flair do you have? You only have 12 pieces of flair. Now, you're supposed to have at least 30 pieces of flair. I hope getting a closer look at this song helps inspire your own productions. Should we make more videos like this? What kind of songs or genres would you like to learn how to produce? Let us know in the comments below and we'll make it happen. Right? This is my Anthony impression. Thanks for watching. Hello.
Next up, Isabelle.
Let's